Now we're returning back to Nantucket, where Andrew's sitting right now, still on vacation, and here to tell us about our Chateau Neuf de Pop offering. Andrew, thank you for sticking with us, and let me get us into our slideshow so that we can talk about this classic. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are here today looking forward to tasting the Vieux Telegraphe Telegram 2019. This is just, there are classic wines of the world, and what could be more classic than Chateau Neuf de Pop?
Yeah, I mean, thank you again for having me and presenting this wine. I mean, Vieux Telegraphe is one of the benchmark wineries in all of Chateau Neuf de Pop. Very famous, very important. They make some of the best wines in the region. This was started by a gentleman named Hippolyte Brunier, and now the grandsons Henri and Frederick are running it. And in fact, Daniel's son, so great grandson, I think. Nikolai is also heavily involved in the winemaking. But anyway, it started from Hippolyte was a modest farmer who was literally living off the land and growing his own food and eating it, and was growing grapes and started making wine out of it. And everybody that drank these wines were pretty blown away, and he thought the quality was really, really good. So he just over time, this is in 1898, by the way, is when he founded it. And the neighbors and everybody were loving the wine so much that he just started making more and more wine and kind of expanding this plot. And that plot is now, or was later called Le Creux, which is considered a Grand Cru, or the Grand Cru of the Chateau Neuf de Pop region. And so that was their only red wine for a very, very long time, up until 2002. It was a really disastrous vintage, and they decided that they wanted to make something that was a little more less in price, because the Creux asked for more money. And this one they took from the younger vines from the Creux vineyard, and then over time they've added a few surrounding vineyards. It's 80% Grenache, 10% Syrah, 6% Mourvèdre, and 4% Cinsault. And there you have a map of Chateau Neuf de Pop, which translates to the Pope's New Castle, or the House of the Pope. But here, what's famous about Chateau Neuf de Pop is they have covered in the whole region what's called a galets roulés, which is basically just a sea of round, like large pebble stones. And where these come from is from glaciers that have moved down the Rhone Valley over a long period of time. They're deposits that have just been left. And then the Rhone River came in, because that is where it runs from where it was cut by glaciers. The Rhone River, just over millennia, has smoothed these stones over time by just running over it. But what's important about these specific stones is that they absorb and hold a lot of heat during the day, and then at nighttime they release that heat right amongst the vines, giving them more warmth, allowing them to ripen even at night. Even though the air outside cools down, there's a lot of heat emanating from these particular stones.
So I want to reiterate what you said earlier about our producer Vieux Telegraphe. This is like one of the benchmark producers in Chateau Neuf de Pop, and the La Croix vineyard, which sells, I think the current vintage is about $100 or more. And then this wine made from younger vines and from a second classification off this magnificent set of properties, is called Telegram. So that's the difference between the two wines. You've got the La Croix and you've got Telegram.
And I may have mentioned this earlier, but a lot of the fruit, the vast majority of the fruit, comes from the La Croix vineyard, which is basically a Grand Cru vineyard, along with some from Pinon that Chateau Reyes makes a wine from, and some other surrounding vineyards that are of equal quality.
And here you can see,
go ahead, sorry.
Altitude. You're not going to get many of the Galets up here. but but some, right?
Yeah, there is definitely, is some in some of the even in the LaCroix Vineyard is one of the highest, if not the highest elevated plateau in the region, but there is still a considerable amount of Gallet Relais and in that vineyard for sure.
Like an older picture to the left, but everything in Chateauneuf is hand harvested, right?
Yes.
And you can see the cellar to the right, the large wood with slow wood fermentations and aging in wood. What is a Chateauneuf de Pape like this? How much time does it see before it's bottled? Do you know?
It depends on their what they're doing with this one in particular, the Telegram. It spends about 10 months in cement and then 6 months in foeders and then about another year or so in bottle.
And here's a picture of our bottle again. That Cepage, the blend, 80% Grenache, 10 Syrah, 6 Mourvèdre, 4 Cinsault. And it is made for consumption in the near term, but even with that, 10, 15 years is still considered near term for a wine like this.
Absolutely.
93 points, Jeb Dunnick, a good score, beautiful wine. I think everyone's going to enjoy. Some of the kind of iconic, nuanced nose characters of this wine. First of all, the color, you kind of get this nice advancement with Grenache not retaining a lot of color. It's not super purple. It starts to show some age. And then you get this really amazing set of aromas that are very unique.
Yeah, this is a kind of wine that the idea of terroir really made sense to me. That it smelled and tasted like it came from a very specific place. Even though I didn't know a lot about that place, there's something different that was happening. And what's great about this wine too is a lot of Chateauneuf de Papes, 10 years, 15 years ago, when Robert Parker was really in love with this area and giving a lot of the wines 100-point scores, upper 90 scores, the alcohol just kept getting higher and higher. And with global warming too, it's really down, especially in this area, is getting hit with an insane amount of heat, a lot more hailstorms actually. But that heat and that Parkerization, a lot of the wines are very high in alcohol. They're very, very big fat wines. But the Brunier family just stuck to their old tradition and their old ways of making more balanced wines and not to follow those trends. And so this one is typically in the 13s and low 14s. I don't have the bottle in front of me to see exactly what it is, but yeah, this one is a lot more accessible when it comes to the alcohol and yeah, and it just allows the wine and the terroir to shine through even more.
And again, our guests here today are going to be privy to a very good price. You even have a little discount code that we're going to make activate for all of the wines on this program. So even if it says excluded from discount, for one day only, they will not be with that code. So you might want to take advantage and jump all over some of these special prices and take some home with you today. Andrew, thank you so much, man. You're always an awesome guest, to the point, perfectly on top of your Kermit Lynch portfolio. And thank you for a moment from your vacation as well.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.